Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers officer complaints, voter identification laws, and the Fourth Amendment, and is brought to us by The Days channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, 61-year-old activist David Godbout, who, according to local officers, quote, makes his presence known at every November election, went to his designated polling place at East Lyme High School in East Lyme, Connecticut. Mr. Godbout was engaging with citizens outside of the school when an officer with the East Lyme Police Department arrived on the scene. The interaction that followed was captured on officer body camera.
Okay, here is your authority. 9-230. Are you familiar with that?
I am preventing or suppressing disorder, and he's asking.
Listen, I'm not going to debate that with you. I'm just going to tell you, don't harass these people.
I'm not harassing them. I'm asking them questions. They don't have to answer. Okay? I can ask you a million questions, and you don't. And you can sit there.
Listen, they don't want.
I don't care if they don't want. I can ask the question.
No,
they don't
you
have
can't.
to answer.
You cannot. You cannot keep badgering them. Okay?
Oh, yeah? What part of free speech is that limitation?
Listen,
where's that at? I don't care if you're a volunteer.
Are you going to vote?
Are you familiar? I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm asking you.
Well, then I'm not going to answer any of your questions either. Then, how's that?
That's fine. You don't have to. I cannot force you to answer questions.
Don't harass these people.
I'm not harassing. I'm asking them questions.
They don't want to be asked any questions.
They don't have to answer, just like you said.
You can just move along. You don't need to stand here, okay?
Are you ordering me to leave?
Not yet. But I'm telling.
Are you going to order me to leave if I'm asking them questions you don't want to answer?
No, I'm telling you to stop badgering these people.
I'm not badgering them. I'm asking them questions they don't have to answer.
Stop.
So you're telling me I cannot ask people in public a question?
Yes.
Is Chief Finkelstein around? I'd like to talk to him.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Can you call him?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not going to call him.
Why not?
You can call him.
I have a complaint under Public Act 14-166. You know that
Go
rule.
make it. Go make it then.
You have to get somebody here.
Go make their complaint.
I want to. Bring your supervisor over here so I can file a complaint.
I am the supervisor. Okay?
No, you're a supervisor. You're a sergeant.
No, that's right.
You got plenty of lieutenants. You have Lieutenant Masak. You have Chief Finkelstein. Bring one of those over here.
All right.
Yep, you know where it is?
Are you going to call him, or are you going to defy?
No, I'm not calling
anybody. Are you going to
anybody.
defy Public Act 14-166?
I'm not calling anybody.
So you're defying the law.
You asking me questions now?
Well, I can't ask you. I'm asking you if you're going to bring a supervisor over.
No, I'm just going to. I'm just going to stand
mandate.
here and banter with you so you don't bother these people. How about that?
Mr. Godbout claims that the officer is violating Public Act 14-166 by failing to call his supervisor to the scene so he can file a complaint. Public Act 14-166 is a piece of Connecticut legislation that required the State Police Officer Standards and Training Council to develop and implement a written policy concerning the acceptance and investigation of complaints from members of the public relating to alleged law enforcement misconduct by July 1st, 2015. After the policy was developed, each local law enforcement agency was required to either adopt the policy implemented by the council or develop and implement an alternative policy that exceeded the standards of the council's policy. The Police Officer Standards and Training Council Uniform Complaint Policy, which was adopted by the East Lyme Police Department, states that, quote, employees have a duty to assist any person who wishes to file a citizen's complaint by documenting the information and allegations they provide, advising the individual how to proceed, and by promptly putting the complainant in contact with a supervisor who can assist them with filing their complaint. No employee shall refuse to assist any person who wishes to file a citizen complaint, or discourage, interfere with, hinder, delay, or obstruct a person from making a citizen complaint. The policy also requires that, quote, all employees will assist those who express a desire to lodge complaints against any member of the agency. This includes calling a supervisor to the scene to conduct a preliminary inquiry and document the complaint. Additionally, the policy goes on to state that, now quoting again, all personnel who are approached by a person seeking to make a complaint will, when possible, call a supervisor, obtain a brief description of the allegation, record contact information from the complainant if provided, and obtain a complaint control number which should be provided to the complainant. If a supervisor is not readily available, the officer will inform the complainant that they will be contacted by a supervisor or the person or unit assigned to conduct internal affairs investigations by the next business day. Finally, the policy mandates that, quote, complaints from the field in which any member of the agency is approached by a complainant expressing allegations of misconduct or malfeasance shall immediately be reported to a supervisor. The complainant shall be requested to await the arrival of the supervisor. Accordingly, Mr. Godbout appears to be correct in his assertion that the officer did not comply with the complaint policy requirements, not only by refusing to call a supervisor, but also by failing to provide additional types of assistance in filing a complaint required by the policy.
Now you're trying, see, you can't do that.
I can do that.
Yeah, you can do that, but it's not going to work.
Okay. It's worked so far. Because here you are, standing in front of me.
I think I'm going to be running into a criminal issue here.
Okay, you could be.
Under 53A-96, are you familiar with that statute? Unlawful restraint?
Yeah.
You're familiar with that?
Yeah. Who are you going to unlawfully restrain?
Well, we'll find out. You ready?
Yeah.
You want to come with me?
You're going to unlawfully restrain someone? All right.
Hello. Who are you guys with?
Don't answer him. Don't answer him. Don't answer him. Seriously.
Popcorn and fried dough. It's the class of 2025.
Don't answer him.
Local high school students.
Seriously.
Is this part of the Parent-Teacher Association?
In a nutshell, yeah.
It is? All right. That's fine.
Sir, what street do you live on?
I'm not going with you. You can go vote.
You're unlawfully refusing to allow me to vote.
Okay.
Are you going to arrest me?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not.
Why?
Are you asking me questions?
I'm asking you to do
I'm
your
not.
duty.
I'm not answering your questions. How about
Because
that?
here it is, 54-33B. You're familiar with that, right?
Good for you.
A law enforcement official may ask a person if she or he may conduct a search of their person, provided such law enforcement official has reasonable and articulable suspicion that weapons, contraband, or other evidence of a crime is contained upon that person. They didn't make any claim there. They are a law enforcement official under their authority under Section 9-230. So they cannot ask me for an ID to be able to vote. Therefore, they are under 53A-96 unlawfully restraining me because I can't go in there and vote.
You are more than welcome to come in and vote.
Mr. Godbout contends that he cannot be required to show his identification in order to vote, and that the poll workers unlawfully restrained him in violation of Section 53A-96 of the Connecticut General Statutes by preventing him from voting. We will discuss voter identification laws later in this episode, and it should be noted that the poll workers did not actually prevent Mr. Godbout from voting. Additionally, it is highly unlikely that a court would conclude that restricting Mr. Godbout from voting constituted a violation of Section 53A-96 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which simply states that, quote, a person is guilty of unlawful restraint in the second degree when he restrains another person. Section 53A-91 of the Connecticut General Statutes sheds a bit more light on the meaning of unlawful restraint, defining the term restrain as meaning, quote, to restrict a person's movements intentionally and unlawfully in such a manner as to interfere substantially with his liberty by moving him from one place to another, or by confining him either in the place where the restriction commences or in a place to which he has been moved without consent. Well, even if a poll worker were to deny entry to a voter, the act of refusing entry does not involve physically moving the voter or confining them to a certain area, as required by the statute. Additionally, the statute only prohibits restrictions on movement that are unlawful, and, as we will discuss more thoroughly later in this episode, poll workers are authorized to confirm identifications and ensure that voters comply with the legal requirements before voting. As such, a court would almost certainly disagree with Mr. Godbout's argument that he was being unlawfully restrained.
She demanded an ID.
She asked you for an ID and she walked away. You walked away when she told you to go see the assistant registrars.
No, she didn't tell me that.
Yes, she did.
No, she
Everyone
didn't.
heard her, and you have to walk in. So if you'd like to come and see the assistant registrars, they would be more than happy to.
Why would I need to see an assistant registrar?
Because you need to get a ballot to vote.
That's restraining my vote. Should be able to just get a ballot and vote. Why is she asking for
You
ID?
can go see the assistant registrar and then help you get a ballot so you can vote.
Because this is the law.
I'm going to keep telling you the exact same answer. You can go see the assistant registrars and you can get a ballot.
Why are they asking people for their ID?
I'm telling you what you can do to vote
See,
today.
this gentleman says that if the person doesn't want to answer the question, then I should leave, right? Well, you won't say if you don't answer the
I am
question.
telling you how you can
Well,
vote
tell
today.
me how.
Well,
Tell me
then, that's
why.
the only thing I can tell you
Tell me
today.
under what authority are you asking people for their ID so that they can vote?
I am telling you, if you would like to vote today, you can go see the assistant registrar and they will help you get there
I would like
today.
to vote in the next election and the election after that without being searched.
No one is searching you.
You
Have
are
I searched you?
Yes, you are. You're asking me for my ID. This gentleman knows that that is a search under the Fourth Amendment. It's a search anytime. He can't walk up to people and ask for ID willy-nilly. You can't either. For the same reason he can't.
I'm asking you.
Mr. Godbout argues that the identification requirement constitutes an illegal search under the Fourth Amendment. It should be noted that the Supreme Court held in the 1984 case of INS versus Delgado that an officer's request for identification does not always implicate the Fourth Amendment, stating that, now quoting, interrogation relating to one's identity or a request for identification by the police does not, by itself, constitute a Fourth Amendment seizure. However, as the Supreme Court determined in the 1979 case of Brown versus Texas, an officer detaining a suspect for the purpose of requiring him to identify himself has conducted a seizure subject to the requirements of the Fourth Amendment. While the court in the Brown case determined that officers may not detain citizens on the street and demand identification without reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, this does not mean that this is the only scenario where a law enforcement officer or other government agent can require identification. In fact, the Supreme Court explicitly upheld the constitutionality of an Indiana state law requiring all voters who cast a ballot in person to present a government-issued photo ID in the 2008 case of Crawford versus Marion County Election Board. In reaching this conclusion, the court determined that the state's interests in deterring and detecting voter fraud and protecting the integrity of the electoral process outweighed the minimal burden placed on voters by the identification requirement. Notably, Connecticut law does not require citizens to present identification in order to vote. Although the poll worker will request that voters present ID, citizens who do not provide identification can still vote as long as they sign a statement verifying their identity under penalty of false statement. Accordingly, it is nearly certain that a court would conclude that Connecticut's voter identification laws do not violate the Fourth Amendment, as the Supreme Court has approved of even more stringent requirements.
If you would like, actually, I'm telling you, if you would like to vote, go see the assistant registrars. They will help you get a ballot. That is how I can help you.
Under the need to be searched.
Okay.
Are you going to search?
I am not going to search you. I'm not searching you.
Yes, you are.
I am not going to touch you. I'm not going to search you. I'm not going to do anything that requires
you. don't have
you.
to touch me to be a search.
I'm telling you how you can vote today.
You don't even have the authority to do it, and you just told me that you don't need one.
I am telling you how you can vote today. It's your choice whether or not you would like to follow through with that.
Now, I'm certainly going to be calling the Secretary of State's office, the Election Commission, to let them know that you are not allowing people to vote unless they submit to an unlawful search.
That is not what I said.
That's what
I
I'm
said that
saying.
you did not need to provide ID if you go see the assistant registrars.
Yeah, well, you should just ask for the ballot and get it.
I'm lying.
Mr. Godbout, nobody wants to go back and forth with you
No,
anymore.
obviously not. I'm going to.
And we're not going to answer any more of your questions.
I understand that.
Either follow
No,
her.
I'm not going to be searched.
Just
to
follow.
exercise a
Just follow her
constitutional right.
directions
No,
if you want to.
absolutely not.
If you want to vote.
Absolutely not. What's
okay.
next? We get strip searched.
Okay.
Come on.
Then on your way.
The court voided what the U.S. Congress did on that day. Are you aware of that, young man?
You don't have to speak to him if you don't want to.
This guy is running interference. See, this is what he's doing is illegal. He is trying to infringe on my free speech rights. And I've complained to him, asking for a supervisor to come over here because that's what Connecticut law requires, that if you have a complaint over the action of the police department, they are required by law to have a supervisor come out here. He refused to do so, so he is violating the law. There is no penalty personally against him for not following that law. The law doesn't have a penalty provision. the law is toothless because there's no way to enforce it. That if a citizen has a complaint, they can bring it right to one law enforcement official.
Are you interested in this?
I'm kind of lost.
Okay. I don't think she really has an interest in your lecture.
I don't think you can read her mind.
I just asked her.
Yeah.
I'm not reading her mind. I asked her.
She's just confused is all.
Okay.
I can take this.
All right. Is that interesting, though, that they're having without quorum? You think they can do that?
I don't really know.
And we're just standing with you because women should be standing alone, especially young minor women. This is a minor.
So?
So it's not a good look, buddy.
She doesn't have an interest. I don't need to read her mind. She just told you she doesn't want to talk to you.
Okay, go away, go away.
You go away.
Go away. Buzz. You know, I've already told you guys not to approach me. Don't approach me.
Hey,
Stay
you
away
have your
from me.
rights. I have mine. I can follow
No, you
you
don't.
around all I
No,
want.
you can't.
Yes,
No,
yes,
you
I can.
can't. All right, and I told you not to do
think
that.
I will.
Get your supervisor over here because you're violating my notice.
Okay.
All right? It's not your job to harass citizens trying to give people information.
After refusing to provide identification or sign a statement in order to cast his ballot, Mr. Godbout visited the Registrar of Voters' office at the East Lyme Community Center to complain. Additional officers arrived on scene, and the events that unfolded continued to be recorded on body camera.
The next problem, David.
Then you know the other option is to sign the page that you swear
And
with
you
an
refuse
affidavit.
every time.
They did not tell me
Then
that.
David, don't vote. Okay, but you're wasting our time.
I'm not
you're
wasting your
harassing
time.
people.
You're harassing
You should be
people.
concerned that
No.
they're doing
You're
their jobs in
harassing
accordance with
people.
the law
Listen to
and
me.
with the restrictions that
You
the law
look for
provides.
things to
Did you
to
find
split
this?
What does this say?
Did you follow this is my statute?
This
You
is my
know-
statute.
Okay, good.
So we have a
All
difference
right,
of
fine,
opinion
yeah,
as to if
fine,
it's
you're not
required.
voting today then.
Make sure you spell my
I would
name
like to change my register, the party that I vote.
Then you fill out your card and
you have to-
drop it off some other day. But you're not gonna keep this up. You're disruptive, you're intimidating.
I am not intimidated.
I feel
am not
intimidated.
disruptive.
I feel
I'm exercising
intimidated.
my free speech. If you feel that's intimidating, you know,
David,
that's not my problem.
They've told you.
You be quiet.
ID.
You be quiet.
Oh,
I'm
Get
exercising my
outside.
free
Let's
speech.
go. Let's go
I
outside.
feel
You're done.
threatened.
The
Am I under
moderators
arrest?
you are being removed.
You-
Do you want to be?
I'm here to change my registration.
Step outside. Let's talk outside. They have told you how to do that, and you're refusing to do it.
This is ridiculous. You guys are goons. Where's Chief?
Thank you for
Where's
that
Chief Finkelstein?
We know where he is.
Where is he?
Well, actually, we don't know where
He's
he is. Do
waiting for
you?
you.
I feel like
I'd love
you're
to talk- I'd love you to
impeding
tell me
voters
outside.
that need help, David. So can you
Yep.
please remove yourself? Thank you, David. Have a lovely day.
Well, it's nice that you
Outside,
treat
please.
people like this.
Thank you.
Now you're pushing me. You're
Yeah,
pushing me.
They've asked you to leave. You're refusing to leave. Come on, David.
You're impeding the progress of voters to a polling place currently.
We're not gonna.
So you're ordering me to leave.
I'm asking you to walk out of this
You're
office.
asking
You
or
can
telling me?
vote. You can vote. They've told you how to do
Hold it,
that.
hold it, hold
This
it.
isn't
Hold
even
it,
your
Einstein.
polling station.
Are you asking or demanding?
Listen,
The Register of Voters is asking
Are
you to
you-
leave the premises.
I can be in the
Voting.
voter registrar's office. It's a public
David,
office.
They've given
I have a right
you
to
what
be
you
there.
need. They are now having you
I can
leave
sit there
because
and
you're
just observe what is
impeding.
going on in there if I like.
Step outside, please.
Are you ordering
Step
me
outside.
or asking?
officer,
Are you
we have
ordering-
asked this gentleman to leave.
Excuse me.
Please help him outside.
Are you ordering me?
Let's
to
go,
leave?
David.
No, you've been asked to leave.
Ask.
You just
Ask by the
And now
Register
I've
of
asked
Voters.
the
Let's
officers
go.
to make sure you leave.
Are you
Okay?
asking- you're telling me to
I'm
leave?
asking you to leave on your own free will, David.
All right.
I am asking you to leave
I'll
on
go
your own
out
free
there and
will.
we'll discuss my
Yep.
complaint.
spell my name right.
The registrar asks Mr. Godbout to leave the building, and Mr. Godbout argues that he has a right to be there because it is a public office. As we have discussed before here on ATA, a private citizen's right to access public property is not unlimited. Public spaces, such as parks, sidewalks, and government buildings, are subject to reasonable regulations to ensure safety, order, and the effective use of these facilities for their intended purposes, and individuals may be asked to leave public property in certain situations, such as when their actions cause a disturbance, violate established rules, or constitute a criminal offense. as the Supreme Court explained in the 1966 case of Adderley versus Florida, where it upheld the conviction of protesters who were arrested for trespassing on jail grounds during a demonstration, quote, "The state, no less than a private owner of property, has power to preserve the property under its control for the use to which it is lawfully dedicated." On reaching this conclusion, the court rejected the idea that, now quoting, "people who want to propagandize protests or views have a constitutional right to do so whenever and however and wherever they please," determining instead that, quote, "The United States Constitution does not forbid a state to control the use of its own property for its own lawful, non-discriminatory purpose." Accordingly, given the disturbance Mr. Godbout was causing, it is likely that a court would find that the registrar could ask him to leave the building without violating any of his constitutional rights.
Hi, honey.
You're
I'm Mary Smith,
yeah, you're
registrar
technically
voters.
the registrar, so you can tell him to
Yeah.
leave, right?
Oh, absolutely. She's the head moderator.
All right.
Yeah,
So
he's
the head
creating a
moderator
disturbance.
asking him to leave.
He's creating a disturbance.
And his polling station is at
It's
the high school,
It's
correct?
already been
And
up
he's
there.
already been up there,
he
and
has no right to be.
No.
has he been given what he
He
needs up
wants
there?
us to get rid of the Girl Scouts and whatever else.
He claimed that he
I'm
was.
recording, just so you know.
Okay,
He
you're not
claimed
recording?
that he was like
Yeah,
asked for
whatever.
a legal strip search, and now it's an illegal search. It's something different every day.
Did he say anything threatening to you guys?
His moving towards me as
He
I was
was
sitting
moving
down.
towards her.
You know, obviously I have an injury.
How
So-
close did he get to you?
Probably
Within
yeah, close enough. Yeah.
And you witnessed it?
Yeah.
You guys
Absolutely.
were there the whole time?
He's just such a.
Would you say he made an unreasonable noise while he was in
Oh my
there?
God, he was raising his voice.
Okay,
He was being disruptive,
cool.
Have a great day.
argumentative.
David, have you had the opportunity to cast your vote at the East Lyme High School?
No, they wouldn't allow me to vote without showing ID.
Okay. Well, that's not true. They told you you just had to sign an affidavit, which I understand you
They did not
refused to
say
do.
that.
They just told you that in there in my presence. You just have to sign
They
an
didn't tell me
affidavit.
that over there.
Okay, but they've told you that here. So would you sign that? Have you had a chance to vote? You'd sign your affidavit?
I'm going to have to go over there and see if they'll even do that.
Okay.
But right now, my complaint is that these people are following me around, interfering with my free speech rights.
Sure.
When I'm talking with people about political matters.
Yep. So can you sign an affidavit at the high school? Okay. Can you sign an affidavit and vote here?
No.
No? Okay.
I
Did
have
you have
to
the
go.
opportunity to sign an affidavit up there?
They gave you instructions up there. I was standing right there on what you needed to do to
Okay.
vote.
Well, my memory is probably just as sharp as yours. They never told me I had
It's
to
not
sign
as
an
sharp as
affidavit.
mine because I remember.
Did they say?
Because I was standing right there.
Did they say that I had to file
The
an affidavit?
moderator up there repeated herself about a dozen times
she-
and told you what
she
to
went
do.
in
We are the
circular
registrar
argument.
of voters, David. We're telling you what the rules are.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
No.
I'm talking with this gentleman in reference to.
You don't want.
a
You don't
complaint.
really want to talk to me, David, because this is only going one way.
How can they interfere with my free speech rights?
They did interfere with your
They
free speech.
did. This guy is actually like 2 feet behind me, following me around
You're
over at the other
you're
polling
intimately
place.
familiar with statutes, right? The Connecticut Charter
Yeah.
statutes. What do you know about disorderly conduct?
Disorderly conduct, as far as that goes, is anything outside of free speech that causes.
That's what you're under arrest for. We're done with this today.
Hold it.
Let go. Do not tense up on me, David.
I'm just.
Do not tense up on me, brother. Do you have any weapons on you? Anything that's going to poke, stick, stab, or prod me? Okay. There will be some questions by state law you are required to answer. That's part of the booking process that we're going to go through. And if you choose to continue not to answer those questions, you'll be charged with a felony. At this time, disorderly conduct is only a misdemeanor. That was him? All with him? Did you shut this thing off?
I believe it's off. Okay, the red light on. Where's the red light on?
Can you grab...
Good. How are you?
Good.
Casey, why don't you walk with me and we'll talk in the car. HQ1 in custody.
Roger 14 reporting 1 in custody. You have an op?
It's David Godbout. Sure we have him in the house.
Roger.
Swing your feet ahead. Are you hurt or injured?
I'm not answering any questions
Are you
without
sure?
attorney
Are you
present.
sure
Why
those
are you
cuffs
asking me
aren't too-
questions when I told you
Are you
that?
sure those cuffs aren't too tight?
Why are you asking me questions when I...
Following his arrest, Mr. Godbout was released on a $2,000 bond and charged with disorderly conduct. He was also charged with violating the conditions of release for a pending criminal impersonation charge stemming from an arrest in January of 2024. As of the date of writing this episode, all 3 charges remain pending. It is unknown whether Mr. Godbout has filed a complaint or intends to pursue legal action against the department. Overall, the East Lyme officers get a C- because although they exercised a fair degree of patience with Mr. Godbout, and a court would likely conclude that they had probable cause to arrest him, either for disorderly conduct or trespassing, the first officer repeatedly failed to comply with the state law-mandated citizen complaint policy, and the officer's actions in following Mr. Godbout around and telling other citizens to ignore him or not respond to him involve potential First Amendment rights implications that I am uncomfortable supporting. Although officers may take steps to protect citizens from actual unlawful conduct, in this situation, I believe that the officers overstepped their bounds on several occasions by attempting to limit Mr. Godbout's speech in order to protect other citizens from mere annoyance or discomfort. While the officers may have found Mr. Godbout irritating, the First Amendment protects the right to express annoying or unpopular opinions, and it is imperative that officers uphold the Constitution and adhere to policies impartially, regardless of their personal opinions or subjective feelings about an individual. Mr. Godbout gets an F for demonstrating fundamental misunderstandings regarding constitutional, criminal, and election laws, repeatedly disrupting election day processes, and misguidedly attempting to effect change by arguing with the citizens responsible for enforcing the laws, rather than addressing his complaints to the legislatures. While I firmly support Mr. Godbout's right to express his opinions about voter identification requirements, confronting election officials and poll workers on election day is an ineffective method of influencing the state's legislation mandating that citizens either provide identification or sign a statement to vote. The individuals that Mr. Godbout targeted had no authority to alter the legal requirements, and his actions only served to distract them from their responsibilities. This encounter highlights the importance of activists understanding the rights they seek to exercise and utilizing appropriate channels to advocate for the changes they wish to see. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.